We could grab anything off this table, and every single one of those things was forged through this arduous, violent process. The refiner's fire, you take a thing, and it's an impure, broken, imperfect thing. You stick it in there, you take it out and you pound it. And you stick it back in there, you pull it out and you pound it. You stick it in water, you stick it back in there and you pound it. And ultimately, it becomes to take a shape, and that shape serves a purpose. I think humans are no different. It's like the mind has to be forged. The body has to be forged. That approach to fear has to be forged.
Today, I speak to a legend from the Special Forces and the mixed martial arts world and the UFC, Tim Kennedy, talking about becoming a lethal human being and why it is so important. Today's video is sponsored by mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now get the Not a Journal. But I want to ask for your support on the website, where you will soon be able to buy these t-shirts with the words "still" on them. This t-shirt is to raise money for my son's charity, the Jacob Mulligan charity, where all the profits from the t-shirts and the production of the t-shirts and the shipping of the t-shirts will be covered by Mulligan Brothers. And all that money is going to go to grieving families and people who have lost their babies and their children who could not afford a headstone. When Jacob died and we had to arrange his funeral, because it was such a shock, we didn't have the finances available to be able to provide a headstone. So that is why I started the charity. I want to make sure that people who are going through one of the worst things you could ever imagine have the ability to be able to buy a headstone. There's going to be around 60 to 100 of these t-shirts. There's not that many, but hopefully that will cover the cost of a few headstones to get the charity going. As always, thank you so much for all your support. You can find out more at the Jacob Mulligan charity on Instagram or on my Instagram at Jordan Mulligan Brother. But before that, let's jump back into this amazing video with Tim Kennedy about becoming a lethal human being and why it's so important to have that in your arsenal. Not that you have to use it, the fact that you are able to be lethal. It gives you a confidence. It gives your family protection, the friends around you protection, and for you, peace of mind. But instead of hearing from me, let's hear from the legend, Tim Kennedy. As human beings, what is the importance of being lethal? Of being a lethal human being?
Yeah. So, lethality, I hate useless people. And there's a lot of them out there, right? There's a guy just a couple hours north of here, his name is Jack Wilson. Jack Wilson was standing in church when somebody walked in with a shotgun and he wanted to kill the pastor and shoot everybody in the congregation. Jack Wilson is not useless. Jack Wilson was trained, he was experienced, firearms instructor, and he walks in through the back of the church. Bad guy shoots one person in the congregation and he's walking straight to the pastor to murder him in front of everyone. And Jack Wilson saves everyone there in 1 second. Jack's not useless. He was trained, he was lethal. I don't want like a good man, a good person, a good human, a protector, a provider. They're capable of things. A useless person that can provide nothing, that can protect no one, that's not a good person. That is just like a bag of blood that is standing there sucking up the oxygen and the little bit that in the ever warming world that we're living in, just wasting time. Like a good person is something that can do something, that can be violent, but knows when not to be. Right? Like I can walk up to my 2-year-old daughter and she's never known any kind of love besides the love that a father can give her, right? Every touch is gentle. Every touch and word is supportive. It is absolute grace and kindness to this little tiny fragile human, right? But like we know who I am. I'll tear somebody's arms off and I'll shove them where the sun doesn't shine if they get near that little girl. But those are two very contrasted, but I can't do that. I can't protect her and I can't provide for her unless I can be this lethal, powerful being on this other side. I'm just useless. I don't want to be weak. I don't want to be useless. I want to be able to be powerful and strong, but know how to be kind and caring. The forging of, that we would grab anything off this table, and every single one of those things was forged through this arduous, violent process. The refiner's fire, you take a thing, and it's an impure, broken, imperfect thing. You stick it in there, you take it out, and you pound it. Then you stick it back in there, pull it out, and you pound it. And you stick it in water, you stick it back in there, and you pound it. And ultimately, it becomes to take a shape, and that shape serves a purpose. You know, you can go and you can cut down corn, you know, and you can feed your family with it. You can dig with it, whether it's a shovel, whether it's a knife, whether it's a sword. All of them kind of are very similar in the process in which they were made. Like a scalpel can save life and it can take life, but it's still forged the same way. So I think humans are no different. Like the mind has to be forged. The body has to be forged. That approach to fear has to be forged. Or yeah, man, I'm scared. Like I'm scared to death, but I'm still gonna put my foot forward and try and be able to do something. And that just doesn't happen. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of training. I thought I was supposed to be, there's a period where I thought I was supposed to be the world champion. And that was a really selfish world where all the meals were about me, all the training sessions were about me, you know, the fight camp was about me, where we were living was about me, you know, my family was not just second seat, like they're in the trunk, you know, because like if you're gonna be the world champion, everything else is sacrificed to be that. And, but that wasn't my purpose. Like it was part of it. Like I'm supposed to be a warrior. I'm supposed to work. I'm supposed to have discipline. My life is supposed to be regimented, and all of those tools are supposed to be carried over to be able to preserve and protect human life and do good and protect people, right? But I was like off the mark, and you know my family suffered because of that. My businesses suffered because of that. But then once like that adjustment and alignment was made, knowing where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, like there's nothing more rewarding than being in line with your purpose. Like it is a fulfilling, beautiful thing when you're like doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like you have skills that the best, wisest, most experienced business person on the planet wishes that they had. You have discipline. You understand how to regiment your life. You know, the little things. When Mattis said, "What's the most important thing that you can do when you wake up?" He's like, "You can make your bed." You learn that in the military. You learn how to do small, incremental decisions, and those cumulative incremental decisions added up matter. And it starts this wave of effectiveness and productivity that nobody can compete with because we know how to work. We know how to get up early. We know how to stay up late. We know that time doesn't matter, that getting the job done and getting mission complete and mission success is all that matters, especially for entrepreneurs. Like the military and veteran community, you were given this gift of knowing how to do superhuman things. You just have to go and do them. You know, if you set that sword down, if you forget who you were and what you could do, what it felt like to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning so you could grab a little bit of bite to eat before you go and train for 2 hours, before you go up to work and work for 10 hours training to go to deploy 6 months later, where you then deploy for a year. You know, like that was the recipe for success was given to you. You just have to believe it, and then you have to do it.
Thank you so much for Tim Kennedy's time on this video. For me, the idea of being lethal is extremely important. It's extremely important to me and my brothers. Our whole lives, we've made sure that we are physically fit, talented athletes, strong in the gym. We've practiced physical combat. And the point of that is to have that confidence, to have that knowledge that if you needed to use it, not that you ever want to, but if you needed to, it is there. The choice I would decide to take as in all situations is peace. I would choose not to fight. But if push came to shove, it is nice to know that you have that to be able to protect your family, your loved ones, and your friends. Guys, today's video was sponsored by mulliganbrothers.com, where you can get the journal, but also coming to the website this week is the Still t-shirts. And the reason it says Still is it's for my son's charity, the Jacob Mulligan charity. And he was stillborn. He was a stillborn baby, and unfortunately he died 6 years ago. And it was such a shock to me that when it came to burying him, we had no money for a headstone. These funeral homes, they charge a lot of money for headstones, and I always felt that it was a wrong thing to do. I think in this position where somebody's going through the worst thing imaginable, they couldn't even have fathomed that this would happen to them, and it happens to quite a few people, there should be somebody available to help them. We should be able to provide them with headstones, and that is what the charity is started for. That is why we're doing this. There are going to be around 60 to 100 of these t-shirts available, and with that, at this price, we should be able to provide at least 2 headstones for bereaved parents, maybe even more. and it will get the ball rolling on providing more of these t-shirts. The t-shirts have been provided by Mulligan Brothers, and Mulligan Brothers is covering all the costs as well. So 100% of the revenue from these t-shirts will be going to this project currently. So I just want to say a massive thank you to Luke and William, my two brothers, who have helped support this, and my team downstairs as well, who are helping make this possible. And all the support from my friends and my loved ones for making this possible. This is something I'm just getting started with. We have a lot of fundraisers come in. We have a couple world records planned to break, and a lot of endurance events that you will see me doing in the next year or so to be able to raise money for this charity, this cause that I really do feel is super important. Parents who have lost their children, can you imagine the worst situation imaginable? Then to sit in an office and to have a sales pitch about a headstone with, you know, gold lettering, and we can make it extravagant and pretty, and for me is not a situation that should exist in our world. It should be an option that people can go out there and buy these headstones, but it should be a given that we support parents who have lost their children. No parent should bury their child. That is the whole point of this, and we are trying to provide as many headstones as possible, at least for us, the missionaries, until the UK government put it into part of their budget where they will cover the cost of the headstone. Who knows if it will ever happen, but it is a goal of ours. Guys, thank you so much for the support. If you want to see more of that, you can go to Jacob's Charity on Instagram or at Jordan Mulligan Brother on Instagram to see what I'm getting up to. Thank you for watching the video. Have a blessed and productive day, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.